Yeah. Hemangimati, when are you ready, you can start, Mati.
Sure, Varsity. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, devotee. Dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Today we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 3, Text 1 to 12. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Naistiki. Text 1. King Parikshit said, O my lord, O Sukadev Goswami, Yamaraj is the controller of all living entities in terms of their religious and irreligious activities, but his order had been foiled. When his servant, the Yamadutas, informed him of their defeat by the Vishnuduta, who had stopped them from arresting Ajamila, what did he reply? O great sage, never before has it been heard anywhere that an order from Yamaraj has been baffled. Therefore, I think that people will have doubt about this that no one but you can eradicate. Since that is my firm conviction, kindly explain the reason for these events. Sri Sukadev Goswami replied, My dear king, when the order carriers of Yamaraj were baffled and defeated by the order carriers of Vishnu, they approached their master, the controller of Samyanapuri and master of sinful person, to tell him for this incident. The Yamaduta said, dear Lord, how many controllers or rulers are there in the material world? In this material world, how many causes are responsible for manifesting the various results of activities performed under the three modes of material nature, Sattva-guna, Rajaguna, and Tamaguna? If in this universe there are many rulers and justice who disagree about punishment and renewed, their contradictory action will neutralize each other, and no one will be punished or rewarded. Otherwise, if their contradictory acts fail to neutralize each other, everyone will have to be both punished and rewarded. Text 6. The Yamadutas continued, since there are many different karmis or workers, there may be different judges or rulers to give them justice. But just as one central emperor controls different departmental rulers, there must be one supreme controller to guide all the judges. The supreme judges must be one, not many. It was our understanding that you are that supreme judge and that you have jurisdiction even over the demigods. Our impression was that you are the master of all living entities, the supreme authority who discriminates between the pious and impious activities of all human beings. Text 8. But now we see that the punishment obtained under your authority is no longer effective, since your order has been transgressed by four wonderful and perfect persons. We are bringing the most sinful Ajamila toward the hellish planet, following your order, when those beautiful persons from Siddhaloka forcibly cut the knots of the ropes with which we are arresting him. Text 10. As soon as the sinful Ajamila uttered the name Narayana, these four beautiful men immediately arrived and reassured him, saying, Do not fear, do not fear. We wish to know about them from your lordship. If you think we are able to understand them, kindly describe who they are. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, Thus having been questioned, Lord Yamaraj, the supreme controller of the living entities was very pleased with his order carriers because of hearing from them the holy name of Narayan. He remembered the lotus feet of the Lord and began to reply. Textual Yamaraj said, My dear servant, you have accepted me as the supreme, but factually I am not. Above me and above all other demigods, including Indra and Chandra, is the one supreme master and controller. The partial manifestation of his personality are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, who are in charge of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this universe. He is like the two threads that from the length of and breadth of a woven cloth. The entire world is controlled by him, just as a bull is controlled by a rope in its nose. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Magmate. Hare Krishna. Harinam Kirtan Prabhu, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Sure, Prabhu. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu, I can hear you.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome for the morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. We'll start with the prayers. Om Agyan Timirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyat Veshatani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We are at a very nice, crucial junction of Srimad Bhagavatam. We just have finished the pastimes of Ajamila, and we have seen how Ajamila has gone back home, back to Godhead by the mercy of the Lord. The same Vishnuduta which came, with the Yamduta, the same Vishnuduta came to him, and a plane carrier made up out of gold took the Ajamila. And in the last chapter, we glorified, the final verses were that the only process to free us from this material bondage, to achieve freedom from this material bondage of eye and mind, the process is chanting and glorifying the name, form, fame, and pastime of the Lord. Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila. This is the process if one desires to free from this material bondage, and on whose feet all the holy places resides. Now, coming to the next chapter, where there is a dialogue, interesting dialogue between the Yamadutas and the Yamaraji, because now the Yamadutas they they had an encounter with Vishnu Duta. They have never seen such thing ever, that the order of Yamaraj can be deferred by somebody, because they consider Yamraj to be their master and is a supreme master who can go against the order of Yamaraj. And they were amazed to see who these Vishnudutas are. How can they cut the Yamapash and fight with them? Cannot allow Jamila to take them. So they were bewildered. What is the power of Narayana? You know. So because of these doubts, they did they went to Yamarajji, and they asking Yamaraj that, oh Yamaraj, you are the controller of the all living entities, and you decide their fate. What religious activities they have done, and we are defeated by Vishnu Dutas, these people who stopped us, taking a Jamila. So they are cautioning Yamraj now that who these are. Is there somebody above you? So like that the question, that how can Yamraj order can be baffled? So who is above you? How can your servant have these difficulties? So text 4 onwards, the Yamaduta says, how many controllers are there, or how many rulers are there in the material world? Because they think there is only one ruler, which is Yamraj. But now his order has been, not followed. So that's why they are asking, is there many other controller of this universe? How many causes are responsible for deciding the result of one's activities in the life, which fall under the mode of nature, Satogun, Rajagun, Tamagun. Which are the different causes, which decides the result of different activities. So in one sense, Srila Prabhupada write that, what is the use of such a master if a servant cannot carry out the order of his master without being defeated? What is the use of serving such a powerless master? So they were doubting the power of Yamraja because his order is not followed. What is the use of serving such a master whose order is not been followed? So that is the thoughts they have in their mind. And then again, they elaborate on the same aspect. That are there many ruler or justices, or like are there different courts of justice? Yamaraj has a court of justice. There are different courts of justice, or who is the Supreme Court? Which one is the Supreme Court? Like there are, even in this material world, different countries has different courts, local court, or district court, or state court, or maybe the central Supreme Court, whatever it is. Like we know, in one country, the Supreme Court is the final authority. Similarly, they're asking like that, how many courts are there in this universe to judge the activities of living entity? So if those other courts or the other justices are not following your order, then they need to be punished. That how can they defer the order of Yamaraja? So Srila Prabhupada writes, the judges and their judgment must be perfect, free from contradiction. So Srila Prabhupada writes very nicely about the justice system. How the justice system being in this world is so imperfect. People can speak lie, the judges can be, they give some decision just based on some evidences. The evidences can be tainted or, malfunctioned or altered. The witnesses can be bribed. So much can be done in this material world, and people can get free from the crimes what they have done. And we can see so many cases all over the world. There are large list of case pending and this and that. And so there is a very, very important system to run any government, to run any universal affair. There is a very important system of justice. Justice has to be given. So, so similarly, the judge's character and their judgment must be perfect, free from all the contradiction. And Yamaraj is being in this case of Ajamila, and Yamduta is trying to arrest Ajamila, but Vishnuduta baffled them. So now they are thinking that Srila Prabhupada, right, that because Vishnu Yamadutas were baffled, he is perfectly administration justice because he is empowered to represent God. Therefore, he will explain that what his real position is. So text 6 onwards, again the Yamadutas elaborating the same subject, asking that there are different karmis, different worker. There may be different judges or rulers to give them justice, but as one central emperors control all different rulers, there must be one controller to rule all these kind of judges. So that is how their argument is been taken place. That's how Srila Prabhupada makes the system of the governmental management or the department officials. Supreme judge must be one, not so many judges should be there. And who has the jurisdiction over all this, demigods and everything? We think that you are the master of all living entities. You are the person who discriminates the pious and the impious. We can learn from this Vishnuduta. They are, such thoughtful. the incident that have happened with them, they are so thoughtful and asking so many good right questions to Yamaraj with nice arguments, nice logic. Very nice. And now the Yamduta is coming to the point that they described this question, and now they tell that your orders are not being followed properly. There are 4 people, they are wonderful, they're glorifying the 4 wonderful, perfect person. They did not allow us to follow your order, Yamraj. And then they start picking, okay, which case was that? Then they tell, oh, this was the case of Ajamila. We were following your order to bring him to the hellish planet. But those 4 people came from, Siddhaloka, and they cut the knots of the ropes, which is used to arrest the Ajamila. So that's how they could. And as soon as now they tell, how they're narrating the incident which happened with them. That those 4 people came, they cut the knot, and Ajamila uttered the name Narayana, and immediately those beautiful men came, and immediately tell, do not fear, giving them assurance, do not fear, do not fear. Krishna also says, right? Sarva dharman prityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarve papebhyo mokshishyami ma suchaha. The last word ma suchaha is do not fear. That we do not know to we need not to fear from the death also. Srila Prabhupada has given a lot of incidents because generally everybody is afraid of death in this material world because that closes all the material planning, all the programs of this world. But for a devotee, death is a glorious event. For a devotee, death is like, your own lover is coming to meet you and take you to his place. Srila Prabhupada gives another example of the cat and the kitten. So for a devotee, the death is like, a cat is holding his own kitten in the mouth. But for a materialistic person, the cat is holding a rat in the mouth. So similarly, there are many examples we can go on. I'll speak a little bit about that part also. now, now they are narrating the story of Ajamila. They do not fear. Now they're asking, "Oh my lordship, we wish to know about them. If you think we are able to understand, kindly describe who they were." So they are asking this question, and then text 11 onwards that now they have been questioned by Yamraj. Yamraj got ecstatic by hearing, his followers are chanting the name of Narayana, and he immediately remembered the lotus feet of the Lord and began to reply. This is the glory of a great devotee. Uh, Yamaraj ji being a Mahajan, being a great devotee of the Lord. As soon as he heard the word Narayan, he immediately meditated, on the lotus feet of the Lord. He began to reply. So these are the symptoms of great devotee. As soon as they hear about Krishna, as soon as they remember something, their mind immediately get attracted to the lotus feet of the Lord, remembering about his Nam, Roop, Gun, Leela. These are the characteristics of great devotee. So Yamraj is very pleased hearing that, and in the last text, Yamraj Uvacha, Yamraj tells. By the way, Yamraj is the son of sun god, and I think he's the grandson of, I believe, Brahma. Yeah, and Yamraj is also a brother of Yamuna Devi. Yamuna Devi and Yamraj are brother sister, and he has a great authority, and he also came as a Vidurji because he was cursed by the Mandak Muni, because you are too strict in your judgment. You go become a Shudra. So Yamaraj came as a Shudra for 100 years, and wonderful pastimes are there performed between Viduraji and Lord Krishna. So, and Yudhishthir Maharaj also is a form of Yamaraj came in power. Yamaraj is being a glorious devotee of the Lord, being a Mahajan. He replies that, my dear servants, this is how one replies to their servants. Even you can see from Srimad Bhagavatam, my dear servants, not chastising them or reply them so lovingly, my dear servants. You accept me as the supreme, but I am not. This is a great devotee, even though whatever big position, big departmental affair, anything, or a GBC or president, prime minister, or controller of Brahma, or whatever you call it, he always is humble and always admit, I am not the supreme. It's somebody else. Lord Krishna is the supreme. Because as soon as this post position comes, immediately we're surrounded with Maya, thinking that I am the controller, I'm the manager, I'm this. We learn from Yamraj. He's immediately telling his servant, my dear servant, I am not. Above me and above all other demigods, he's telling, including Indra, Chandra, there is one supreme master. And now he makes another point that all the Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, They are partial manifestations of that Supreme Lord. So we can quote this particular verse if anybody has a difficulty in understanding the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesha. Generally, often people consider they are the Supreme, but we can often quote this that there is a Supreme Lord, Lord Shri Krishna, and these all three are the partial manifestation of the Lord. And they are in charge of creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the universe. And then he quote the 7.7 verse that he is like a thread from the length and breadth of the woven cloth. The entire world is controlling by him, just as the bull is controlled by a rope and nose. An example gives of the bull and the rope. Generally, uh, in the nose, they put a rope to control the bull. Similarly, the whole world is controlled by the Supreme Lord. So, Srila Prabhupada in the purport tells that, as Yamraj clearly tells that who is the Supreme Lord, and Yamraj is in charge of the moving living entities and most the human beings, but the animals are not under his control. They grow through the gradual transformation. Only humans have the consciousness of making the decisions of right versus wrong. So, and who performs? Now, the humans have a decision to perform right versus wrong, and among those who are sinful, who are sinful, they only fall under the control of Shamaraja. And Srila Prabhupada calls the Brahma Samhita Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Nadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Srila Prabhupada often quotes this is the verse, the Krishna is the supreme controller. He is the Ishvara Parama, he is the supreme controller. There are so many Ishvara, but he is Parameshwara. Who is the Parameshwara? Krishna. He is the supreme Lord. And then Srila Prabhupada also quotes, Matta Paradaram Nananya Kinchatasti Dhananjaya. That, there is nobody superior to me. So therefore, Yamraj is trying to clear these doubts of his assistant by making this point that I am not the Supreme Lord is the Lord himself. And in the end, Srila Prabhupada quotes from Skanda Prana, telling that the two threads, horizontal and vertical, which is equivalent in manufacture, Lord Vishnu is situated as a vertical and horizontal cause of the cosmic manifestation. So that's how it's been explained. As we have 5 minutes, I'll go over this thing. Lord Shri Krishna also tells in Bhagavad Gita, shloka number 10.9, 10.29, as Lord is telling his, his opulences, he tells that Anantasya chasmi naganam varuno yatasam aham pitranam aryama chasmi yama samyamatam aham. Lord tells that of the many bodies Nagas, I am Ananta. He is the supreme among different Nagas. Among the aquatics, and among the aquatics, I am the demigod Varuna. Of departed ancestors, I am Aryama. And among the dispenser of law, I am Yama, the Lord of Death. So Lord is telling, I am the Yama. I give the Lord of Death. Also, Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells in 11:32, Kalosmi Lokashaya, that I am the time, the great destroyer of this world, and I destroy all the people. So that's all it tells. Another verse of 10:34, Lord Shri Krishna tells that Mrityu Sarvas Haraschaham Udbhavscha Bhavishyatam, that I am the all devouring death, and I am the generating principles of all. There are a number of verses we can go on and on based on the that death thing. The major point is this. It comes from Srimad Bhagavatam. Narina parasarve na kutaschan bhibyati swarga apavarga narkeshu apitulyartha darshina. So it's Lord tells that the devotee solely engage in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana, and they never fear any condition of life. This is a very, very bold statement. Never fear any condition of life. For them, the heavenly planet, the liberation, and the hellish planet are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. It's a powerful verse. We should never be afraid of the death. You know, death should be a glorious opportunity, or art of dying. This is art of dying. That can be a glorious opportunity to remember Krishna, fully absorbed in Krishna, and take his shelter at that time. And the Lord will take us. There should be no doubt about that. And in this context, there are a large number of examples from Srimad Bhagavatam and other places. We can hear from Parikshit Maharaj. He fully absorbed himself. He knows the death is coming. He absorbed himself, took the shelter of Sukhdev Goswami, and by remembering, he left the body. We can. We have an example of his own, his Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj also. He was feeling ecstatic at the time of death. Ecstatic. How can somebody feel ecstatic, so happy? He's leaving his body and feeling ecstatic. He's telling, I have never experienced such a pleasure which I'm experiencing now. I don't want to exchange my situation with anybody in this world. How can somebody feel such a pleasure? Because these pleasures is, the soul is experiencing the highest pleasure, not the bodily and the mental pleasures of this world. So, let me see. Similarly, there another example of Shiva's Pandit's son. He also died, and all the ladies were crying. But the consciousness of Shiva's Pandit's work, how glorious he is! He's dying, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is dancing. Uh, amazing consciousness. Again, there is the pastime of Vritrasura. He wants to die so eagerly. He's telling Indra, "Hold, kill me, kill me." Such a glorious thing. People don't want to die, and he's ready to die, telling that, let me die, please die, I'll go to home, back to home, back to Godhead. And we can also see the glorious departure of Srila Prabhupada also. Even at the death, his bodily parts were, practically gone, practically in a very bad condition. He's so absorbed in translation, in hearing, remembering of the Lord. So by remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, the devotee can overcome all the situations of this world. This is the only way, this is the only process which can quench the heart, the need of our heart, the pleasure which we are always looking in this world. So this is the only shelter where, by remembering, by hearing, by taking shelter of the Lord, this can satisfy us everything. And that is the whole conclusion of the pastimes of Ajamila. And there is a wonderful discussion afterward, some more conversation between Yamaraja. He is a great devotee. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Please forgive me if something wrong I have spoken. I seek forgiveness. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Yeah, thank you so much, Harinam Kirtan Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.